it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So today is going to be a pick a card reading for the next 6 months from whenever you're watching this. But just before we get into it, I want to give a huge thank you to MD Hair, who is sponsoring today's video. MD Hair is a customized medical grade hair growth treatment to target your exact cause and type of hair loss. You start by taking a short quiz on their website, which will ask you about your hair type, what your experience has been like with hair loss, and what your goals are. And you also submit a photo of your scalp. Then MD Hair analyzes your quiz results and scalp photo to give you a customized treatment according to your personal needs. The package includes shampoo, conditioner, and hair serum, as well as wellness supplements and collagen supplements to give you the best results possible. I am obsessed with growing longer, healthier hair, but my hair is super dry and gets damaged really easily. I actually went to the hair salon recently to get a treatment that I wanted and ended up leaving with a huge chop instead. The hairdresser said because my hair was too damaged, they couldn't even do the treatment or my hair might fall off. So we chopped off this much hair. I'm still grieving the loss. And she was like, okay, let's grow back some healthier hair. So that was my goal with these products. I was trying to think of which one is my favorite to share with you guys, but I honestly love all of them. The shampoo and conditioner smell amazing. It's like this fresh, clean scent. And they have this like lovely, luscious, creamy texture too, but it doesn't weigh down your hair at all. Love the serum as well. My image of serum is like an oily substance, but this one isn't at all. It just blends right into your hair. And the collagen as well. I've actually been wanting to take collagen supplements for a long time now, but never got around to it. And it's super easy to fit into my routine. Doesn't really have a taste, so I just throw it into my daily green juice or smoothie. I have noticed more baby hairs coming in, like especially around my hairline, which is an area that I was insecure about. And overall, my hair texture has improved. It's softer and much easier to manage. I am loving my experience so far, and I'm really looking forward to see how the results will progress over time. If you guys want to get started on your hair growth journey, MD Hair is offering an amazing discount of 70% off your first monthly kit to my viewers who use my promo code, which I will have up here on the screen as well as down below in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you so much to MD Hair for sponsoring today's video. Thank you so much to you guys for listening to that. And now let's get on to the reading.
Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So today's pick a card reading is going to be messages and predictions for the next 6 months of your life. We're gonna see what you'll be focusing on or what you're encouraged to focus on for this next 6-month period. We're gonna see blessings that are coming your way, as well as challenges and significant changes. And we're also gonna see where you will be at the end of this 6-month period. Who will you have become? What will you have achieved? And we'll also get a message from the version of you 6 months into the future. So there are 4 readings for you guys to choose from today. I'm going to show you each of these crystals up close one by one, and then please pick whichever one you feel drawn to the most. Number 1 is Chrysoprase. Number 2 is Aquamarine. Number 3 is Orange Calcite. And number 4 is Pink Chalcedony. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number 1s, so if you guys chose the Chrysoprase, this is going to be a reading all about the next 6 months, so let's get right into it. We're gonna start by taking a look at some tarot cards and oracle cards to see what your main focus will be or what you're encouraged to focus on during the next 6 months. So for your tarot cards, we have the Fool, and this one that I dropped is the Lovers. And then for our oracle cards, we have Know Your Worth, Eucalyptus with the message Cleanse and Purify, and Prosperity. Nice. I like how these two cards go together, know your worth and prosperity. In both of these cards, it is raining money. So it does look like some significant monetary rewards are coming in for you in the next 6 months. With know your worth here, I think a big theme for you guys over the next 6 months is building up your self-esteem and self-worth and really recognizing that you and what you bring to the table does have value. And I also think that you're going to start to see that reflected around you. You're also going to start to see that others or the world in general values the work that you are putting out there. I think you're going to see an increase in your confidence, but also an increase in your income and your motivation towards professional pursuits, creative pursuits, building up your career. You might get a burst of motivation to level up in your career and sort of step out of your comfort zone. I'm thinking of climbing up the ladder, like moving up to a higher position or putting yourself in a position or a role that is more challenging because you know that you can do it. There's a feeling of, I'm not going to play it safe anymore. I want to really test myself, is maybe not the best way to say it, but really try and see what I can do, what I am really capable of. There's a feeling of going big rather than playing it safe. With the Fool and the Lovers here, air sign energy is coming through pretty strongly, so you guys could have significant air placements, or an air sign could be playing a very significant role in your life over the next 6 months, or you may find that you're surrounded by a lot of air signs. But when I think of the houses, like in in the zodiac that are related to air signs, we have the 3rd house, the 7th house, and the 11th house. And put very simply, these speak about communicating our ideas and forming partnerships and networking and making connections. So it's interesting that we have this kind of energy accompanied by you challenging yourself in your career, leveling up financially, building up your feelings of self-esteem and self-worth. It looks like you guys are really making moves in your career over the next 6 months. You're doing some good networking, like you're meeting people who you can collaborate with or who can introduce you to new opportunities. And most importantly, people who believe in you. People who see your potential, who understand your vision, and who want to help you and see your vision come to life. This is awesome. I want to read, today I'm going to read this deck from the guidebook. This is the Wild Muse Oracle. And so let's read the passage for Know Your Worth. It's number 24. Okay. So this is on page 67, in case that is relevant to you guys. The message: it's time to let go of doubts. It's time to stop questioning yourself. Remind yourself of who you are, a strong, independent, and brave human being who has worked hard to get to this very moment in life. Don't allow difficult situations to change the way you see yourself. If someone is undervaluing you at your workplace, in love, or simply as a friend, remind yourself that you do not need to internalize the lack of value they are trying to express. Just because someone feels like they can get away with offering you terrible pay, playing with your feelings, or making inappropriate comments about you or the choices you make in life, doesn't mean that you have to accept or attribute those experiences to who you are. Know your worth. You are better than that. And the healing message: we've all been told at one point in our lives that we aren't enough. Whether it's a teacher telling you that you aren't intelligent or hardworking enough, a friend or family member who made you feel like you had to accept their emotional abuse, or a lover who has made you feel like there was something wrong with you. When these experiences happen repeatedly, we can tend to blame ourselves instead of understanding that we need to level up, like find better people to surround yourself with. The type of people who make you feel inferior is simply not your crowd. Your tribe is still out there. Don't settle for people who chip away at your confidence out of fear of being alone or losing opportunities. There is so much more abundance, love, and care waiting for you as soon as you decide to distance yourself from anything and anyone that doesn't allow you to embrace your standards and self-worth. Maintain your self-worth, for that is the only way to create the life you desire. Wow, so very big theme for the next 6 months is recognizing how worthy you are and recognizing that you don't have to, for lack of a better word, take crap from those around you. There's a big difference between, someone can give you advice and someone can give you constructive criticism without making you feel like crap or without making you feel like something is wrong with you. And what I'm seeing for you guys is we are surrounded by people who believe in us, who recognize our worth and recognize how amazing we are. That doesn't mean that they don't see our room for improvement. In fact, they'll encourage us to keep growing and keep flourishing, but it doesn't come from a place of knocking us down. And you will see the difference. There's a difference in how people speak to you. There's a difference in their wording, in their tone, in their approach when they are trying to lift you up and help you to become the best version of you versus like pointing something out just to make you feel bad. And so this guidebook is hinting, or the passage in this guidebook is hinting that maybe we haven't been surrounded by the best people to really nurture us and to really help cultivate our potential. There's maybe people who have only sought to knock you down so that they can feel better about themselves, or who have just completely failed to see your worth. And it's really important to remember that someone's inability to see your worth, as the guidebook said, you don't have to internalize that. That says nothing about you. And I think that also says a lot about the person. Like, I'm thinking of an example. If you went on a date with someone and they just weren't really feeling you, like, that's okay. But you can tell by the way they express that to you what their intentions are. If they say like, oh, I just don't really think we vibe together, or I'm not sure if we'd be compatible, or I'm looking for something else, right? That's not personal. That says nothing about you. But if they come at you from a criticizing tone of like, well, you were doing this and that annoyed me, or like you weren't this or that enough, or try to make you feel bad about yourself. Anyway, I think you guys know the difference, but we also have cleanse and purify here with this eucalyptus, and we have the Lovers, which talks about not only our relationships, but decisions that need to be made in our relationships. Is this relationship worth pouring my energy to? Is it worth sticking around for this connection? This is the kind of things that the Lovers card can talk about. So we may be decluttering or detoxing our social circles, whether that is acquaintances that we're kind of weeding out, so to speak, or maybe it's one significant connection that we're saying, look, this connection has not been making me feel good about myself for a very long time. I don't feel motivated. I don't feel like I can be the best version of myself when I'm around this person, whether it's romantic, friendship, work, even a family relationship. I feel like we're distancing ourselves from those who don't support us. And again, that doesn't mean that they have to be yes people and think that like we're the most amazing thing since sliced bread or whatever. Because there's also a way to but give constructive advice in a way that builds someone up rather than just trying to make them feel bad. So there's a big focus on relationships and noticing the difference in how you feel about yourself based on who you are spending a lot of time around. And you might notice this after the fact too, like, wow, I've been feeling really good for the past 2 weeks, and I just noticed that I haven't been speaking to this person for the past few weeks. I wonder if there's a connection there. When you distance yourself from certain people, I think you realize just how much they were draining your energy or lowering your self-esteem in subtle or not so subtle ways. And with the Fool here, combined with this Lover's energy, it could be indicating that you've been surrounded by some people whom your guides would describe as foolish, as in they cannot see your worth, or they're just completely careless when it comes to voicing how they feel, and they end up hurting your feelings, or they end up being rude. Maybe you're surrounded by some insensitive people. But I also think that the Fool card could be here because some of you guys have had to overthink and walk on eggshells in relationships. In the positive expression, the Fool is carefree. The Fool doesn't have to worry, stress, think about things too much. He can just skip along his merry way. And some of you have been in, but some of you guys I feel have been in relationships where you feel very much the opposite, where you have to be hyper aware of how the other person might be feeling and you don't want to step on their toes. It's like I'm having the feeling of being afraid to confront someone, like a boss or a partner. And I'm also getting the feeling of a person who is, knocking you down, again, either in a subtle way or in a not so subtle way. But if you say something, if you stand up for yourself, it's like, oh, well, sorry for trying to help you. Like, I guess I won't give you advice anymore. Or like it becomes this thing where you're the one who's being too sensitive. And then it's like, you feel like you can't stand up for yourself. You feel like you can't confront this person because it's going to turn into this big thing. So we want to get back to this carefree energy, I think. And it's really nice that the Fool is like walking towards the Lovers. I do feel like this is a sign that you're entering into connections where you can, like, you don't have that weight on your shoulder because you know that the people you're with are always going to assume your positive intention. You know that it's all love in this connection, that you're here to support each other and build each other up, and you see the good in each other. So, and also I should mention, when a doorbell rings during a reading, it does make me think of like someone's coming into your life or a new opportunity is coming into your life. So if I put all of this together, some of you guys might find yourself in a new workplace, or networking with new people, or collaborating with different people. It feels like when you're put under different social circumstances or you're put in a different environment, that's when you can really thrive. And that's where you will really be uplifted and really see your potential. Because there is we have to cleanse, we have to detox from some kind of social situation or some relationship. Because it's like clouding our judgment that we can't really see our worth. I also want to mention, for those of you guys who are looking for love, with these two cards, I do feel like you'll find it when you're not looking for it. You'll just be frolicking along like the Fool and bump into love that was right in front of you. And if you're already with someone, if you're already in a relationship, I think that happily in a relationship, I should add, I do think that there is going to be more of a playful and lighthearted vibe to your relationship over the next 6 months, like having a lot of fun together. For some of you, there could also be a feeling of starting fresh in your relationship, like a clean slate. We're putting the past behind us, we're starting fresh. So let's get into your tarot now. We are going to be using the Chubby Bun Tarot for this part. Okay, let's get more details for the next 6 months of group number 1. First, I want to see a significant blessing that is coming to group number 1 in the next 6 months. Wow, we have the Page of Pentacles. So a lot of you guys there's something happening in your career or with your finances, for sure. Like we saw that super clearly with Know Your Worth and Prosperity. And now we have the Page of Pentacles, which is like a promising career venture, a promising business idea, starting a new project, unlocking your new potential, starting to see an increase in your finances. Some of you guys have maybe you've been looking for a new job, or you've been proposing your idea to many people or applying in many places, and perhaps you keep getting rejections. And so that's why this know your worth message is coming up. Because when we get, and I think that's just normal, right? That's just human. But when we hear a lot of no's, when our idea keeps getting rejected, it does start to chip away at our self-worth. And maybe we start to think, is my idea crappy? But I feel like your idea doesn't need to be perfect. It's just about finding the right person to see the potential in your idea. So someone might say to you, like, your idea needs some work, but we can definitely do something with this. Like, there's a lot of potential here. It's just about finding that one person who believes in you, or those people who believe in you. And I'm hearing like some people were lazy, or like they weren't creative enough. It's like you presented this idea that had so much potential, but just because it wasn't like perfected yet, they like lacked the creativity to see how we can work with your idea. I hope that makes sense. I feel like you're finding someone who, even if your experience, your work experience is still in the beginning stages, or a project that you're working on is still in the beginning stages, they see like the raw material of it. They see what it can become, and they believe in that. And they're willing to, put in that work and help you. Someone is helping like bring your idea to life, or helping you get the training that you need to do a job well. Because it's like, even if you're this little page, they believe in your capabilities. They believe in your potential. New career, new projects, new supporters, people backing your project. You could be gaining investors at this time, or like sponsors, or someone who's willing to pay for your training or pay for some equipment that you need. This could also be a time of like scholarships coming in. I might give you guys, the advice that I might give you guys is to, how can I describe it? Like, let's say you're looking at a job application and it says that you need 5 years of experience, and you have 4, but in every other way you have so much to offer to that job. I would say don't let little things like that stop you from, just going ahead with it and applying. Because when someone sees your worth and sees your potential, they will make exceptions for little things like that. Like, oh, I know you said you want 10 years of experience, but I only have like 8.5. Like, don't let those kind of things hold you back. What is going to be a challenge for group number 1? So we have the Page of Wands and the King of Pentacles. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. And now the energy of this reading is getting pretty specific. The way these came out, the Page of Pentacles person, it looks like they're presenting the wand to the king. And the king is just sitting here on his throne with his money. And he's like, okay, show me what you have. It looks like some kind of interview or some kind of audition or a proposition, a proposal maybe is the right word, that the Page of Wands is making to the King of Pentacles. There's this feeling of you guys have been trying to get a yes from someone, or you've been trying to make a good impression. You're this page who is trying to gain the approval or acceptance of the king. And the king doesn't necessarily have to be somebody specific, but it could be, you know, like looking for someone that you can work with, looking for someone that you can collaborate with, looking for someone to accept you into their program or into their company or whatever it might be. And with you coming through here as the Page of Wands, it's like some of you guys, I don't want to say you're necessarily lacking in the more tangible things, like years of experience, but it seems like your biggest thing to offer is your passion and your drive and your brilliant ideas. Some of you guys have a brilliant idea that you're very passionate about and it has a lot of potential, but you don't yet have the material side of things to make it happen. Like the money or the equipment or a certain technical skill. It's like you need some kind of support to bring your idea to life. Or there's maybe a job that you're very, very passionate about and you would do amazingly at it just from your sheer like drive and desire. You may have less experience than some other people or less formal training than some other people, but because you love it so much and you're so enthusiastic about it, you would do just as good of a job and you would gain the experience in a fraction of a time because like you're so passionate about it. But it seems like you've been looking for help or looking for acceptance from people who are closed-minded or very set in their ways or very, very set in the rules, or they really like systems. And I'm trying to think of, okay, I got it. Let's say you grew up in France, okay? Like you were born and raised in France, and then you moved to the States and you're looking for a job, and one of the requirements is that you need to pass the most advanced level of DELF, which is like the French proficiency test. And you're like, hey, so I don't have the test, like I didn't take the test, I don't have a certificate, but I was born and raised in France. Like I'm fluent in French. And they're like, oh no, sorry, if you don't have the certificate, like we can't process your application. And it's like, bro, I literally probably speak French better than all these other people. And it's like, nope, no certificate. Like, it's like something, is that called bureaucracy? Like because of some document or some formality, it feels like people haven't been taking you seriously when you have the raw talent, or you have the brilliant idea, or you have the motivation. You know, you might not have the formal training or the formal experience or whatever, but it's like, it's just you've come across so many people who they're so close-minded that they're like, oh, you don't have that degree, and they turn you away. Or like, you don't have 5.647 years of experience, they turn you away. And that's really freaking frustrating, right? But you cannot internalize that as like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough. Because you have the freaking, like you have the fire. And I'm getting like worked up because it's kind of, it's frustrating. You have the potential, you have the fire in you. It's just about finding the right King of Pentacles who recognizes that. You may be a bit different from all the other applicants. You may be a bit different from, you know, everyone else who passes through this office or whatever it may be. But I see the spark in you. I see what you're capable of. So like you just need, it's like an exception to be made, or more open-minded people. That's the challenge. What is going to be the most significant change over the next 6 months for group number 1? We have the 5 of Swords. Yeah, there's going to be some connections that are severed for this group. You can literally see these people walking away. There's been some words exchanged and these people are walking away. But what I really like about this card is that doesn't this rabbit look kind of happy? This rabbit looks like, bye, don't let the door hit you on the way out. It's kind of savage. I like this rabbit. Yeah, the Five of Swords is about conflicts, disagreements, defeat. It can talk about, you know, connections, breaking up or separating. It honestly kind of looks like a good thing for you guys. You know, we spoke about cleansing and purifying. We spoke about cutting ties with people who not only can't see our worth, but are not interested in doing so. And I'm kind of getting the feeling that some people might try to put up a fight, which could also be challenging. They might try to like make you feel guilty, for example, or make you feel like you're the problem, because this energy can be a little bit messy. It is one of conflict. Doesn't necessarily seem like a super amicable split or separation that is happening, but you will be happier for it at the end. And because there are two rabbits walking away, it could be two people or multiple people who you are removing from your life or removing yourself. But this is going to create a big change in your life. Like for the card representing a significant change, we got a number 5, which is the number of change. And swords has to do with our mind, our mindset. So removing these people or person from your life is going to have a massive impact on your mindset and on your mental health in a good way. So where are you gonna be in 6 months from now? Oh, the Four of Wands, which is such a happy card. Look at them. You're going to be very, very happy in a very good place in the next 6 months. I was a little nervous about this one. I decided that I wanted to do that for this reading, like a card to represent you, your energy in 6 months from now. And you got one of the happiest cards in tarot. That is freaking amazing. There's a feeling of you being in alignment with your purpose. I love the continuation of these because you started off as this page who, I just have this wand, like this is my idea, this is what I want to do. And with the right partner or with the right partners, you can build it into something sturdy, into something solid. You can make a living out of it. So I think in 6 months from now, you're making a very comfortable living out of what you love or out of your own ideas, because you have the right partners or the right people to support you. I think that you've really found your community. The Four of Wands makes me think of like community, family, where you feel like you belong. There's also a feeling of you feel very at home wherever you are. If there's a certain part of the world where you feel the most at home, I definitely think that you will be there. And your domestic situation, your living situation will be very ideal for you, as well as your working situation. So like if you're someone who prefers to work in an office, or if you prefer to work at home, or if you prefer to work in cafes or in like co-working spaces, or maybe you prefer to kind of move around and travel and work on the go. It's like your workflow and your living situation is going to be exactly how you want it. This is what I'm picking up from the Four of Wands. We do have the Four of Wands and the Lovers, so some of you might be married in 6 months from now, or with the person that you're going to marry. Or if you already are married, I see that your marriage is very happy in 6 months from now. Maybe it has to do with removing some negative influences, some influences that were putting a strain on the marriage. But yeah, there is a happy union, a happy partnership that awaits you in the next 6 months. This is so beautiful. So I'm going to look at the bottom of the deck now, and this is going to represent what you 6 months from now wants you to know. So like you from the future. And we have the Tower. So there will be some Tower moments coming your way in the next 6 months. Basically, a Tower moment, for those of you who are not familiar with that term, it's a sudden change, often a sudden ending that comes in our life. Something is suddenly falling apart. And now we're left with this uncertainty of the future that can be kind of scary. It's a transition that can feel jarring. Like we either didn't know what was going to happen, or we didn't know it was going to happen so soon. And it just leaves us like, where the heck am I going? What am I doing with my life? It's the feeling of things falling apart or ending suddenly. Like the rug being ripped from underneath your feet, or whatever that expression is. I can never remember it. I think what you in 6 months wants to tell you now is to trust the Tower moments. When you're in the middle of them, it can be very scary, but you in 6 months wants to remind you that they're always happening for a reason. I'm also hearing like, if something is falling apart, let it fall apart. Because the reason it's falling apart is because it's not stable. It's not sturdy. It's not supportive. If something is falling apart, let it fall apart. Or if you find that you are the only person who is trying to build this tower back up, just let it go. Let the rabbits walk away. Things that are leaving your life at this time, you will find that they are good riddance. You will be happier without them. The process of losing them could be painful, but you will be happier without them. Also, what I sometimes feel from the Tower is don't be afraid to start from scratch. I feel like sometimes, especially when we're working on a project, or actually even in relationships, you know, I don't want to scrap this project because I've been working on it for so many months already and it's going to put me so behind. Or I don't want to leave the relationship because then I have to start from square one and go back into dating, and I don't want to do that whole process again. Don't get too comfortable where you are not completely happy just because the idea of starting over feels daunting or feels like a hassle. Don't be afraid to let things fall apart, and don't be afraid to start things from scratch. That's the message from future you in 6 months from now. So to finish off this reading, we're going to take a look at some oracle cards for guidance. Appreciate all you have. Let go of how you think your life should be and celebrate all that it is. Needing nothing attracts everything. That reminds me of the Fool. And also, this is very much easier said than done, but I'm thinking of, you know, the root of suffering or unhappiness is the idea that whatever's happening right now shouldn't be happening. And I think future you just really wants to remind you whatever is happening right now is meant to be happening for you. Yeah, we also have let it flow. Let it flow, let it grow. There's a feeling of you rising from the ashes, or you're like, when the tower falls apart, like beautiful flowers are gonna grow from the rubble. Don't be afraid of this process because it's very transformative. It's very beautiful in the end. Okay, and then finally we have everything is scary and you feel vulnerable, but that doesn't mean anything is going to go wrong. Anxious feelings aren't usually indicative of reality. Interesting. I feel like there's some transitions that you're going through in the next 6 months. Maybe saying some goodbyes or stepping out of your comfort zone. And yes, it is scary. I'm not gonna invalidate that. That is very scary. But it seems from this card that perhaps your brain is not helping a lot and is making things worse. Where you're doing something that, yes, it is scary. Yes, it does make you nervous. But then there's that voice in your head that is spiraling and saying everything is going to go wrong and you're gonna ruin everything, or you're gonna make a fool of yourself, or you're never gonna be happy again, or making you feel like you're doomed. And you're being reminded here that a lot of the thoughts that run through our head on a daily basis are just BS. It's just random chatter from our brain. And you're being gently reminded to be discerning of what thoughts are helpful, because worry can be helpful sometimes if it's something that we can change or that we can control. You know, like, I'm worried this bad thing is going to happen. If there's something that we can directly do to fix that or to prevent that from happening, then that worry could be helping us. It could be protecting us. But if it's for things that are completely out of our control and we're losing sleep over it, it's just not helpful. So be very wary, discerning about what thoughts are actually constructive and serving you and which are not. And there's kind of a hint here that the vast majority of your anxious thoughts are not really grounded in any reality. Like, they're not actually going to play out that way. And as someone who has a lot of anxious thoughts, I can I can attest to this. 99% of my anxious thoughts are just garbage and like not based in reality at all, and those things never happen. So anyway, those are the messages from future you to help you navigate these next 6 months. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are just like these, except for you get to choose the topic. You can find my music on my music channel, which includes the song that was at the intro of this video that is an original song. And then finally, I have a vlog channel, Kino Vlogs, and I have merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video. And we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me. And just thank you for being here. Group number ones, I'm sending so much love to you, to everyone who may play a role in your next 6 months, your spirit guides, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number twos. So if you guys chose the Aquamarine, this is going to be a reading all about your next 6 months. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off by taking a look at some tarot cards and some oracle cards to see what you will be focusing on in the next 6 months, or what you are encouraged to focus on. So for your tarot cards, we have Temperance, and we have the 10 of, not wands, the 10 of swords. And then for your oracle cards, we have Sacrifices, Sunflower with the message Hope, and New Beginnings. Okay, so with Temperance here, we have some Sagittarius energy coming through. We also have Gemini energy coming through with the 10 of Swords, which is kind of funny because Sagittarius to Gemini is like exactly 6 months apart. But you could have Gemini or Sagittarius placements, or someone who has these placements could be playing a very significant role in your life over the next 6 months. Also, no matter when you are watching this, one of these seasons has to be in your next 6 months, right? Like either Sagittarius season or Gemini season will be in your next 6 months. So one of those could be an important time for you. Gemini season is late May to late June, and Sagittarius season is late November to late December. But with Temperance here, it looks like over the next 6 months, you guys are focused on finding balance in your life and living a more healthy lifestyle, but also living a more simple lifestyle. We have the Ten of Swords here, which has to do with endings. And then we also have sacrifices, and the Temperance person is looking away from these. This head is like looking away from these things so that they can live a more balanced and healthy life. So over the next 6 months, you guys might be working on getting rid of some bad habits or habits that get in the way of your productivity or your health or your confidence. Things that maybe set you back on your journey to physical health or your journey to mental health. You could be quitting something, like for example, quitting sugar, quitting caffeine, quitting social media, whatever it might be, but we're turning away from something or ending something in order to be healthier and in order to have a more balanced and well-rounded lifestyle. I also want to point out something with Temperance. There can be this feeling of trying things out and tweaking things until you get it right. I don't know if this is the traditional meaning of Temperance, but I have a cat deck, and on the Temperance card, the cat is making coffee and they're adding like milk and sugar and trying to get the perfect balance, and it's really cute. And I think about that a lot. I think about that coffee making cat a lot. And so in your quest to remove bad habits and build better habits, it's sort of like a process of trial and error. So let's say one of your goals is that you want to wake up earlier. You might try, okay, I woke up at 5:30 and that doesn't really work for me. I feel really freaking tired. And then I tried waking up at 6:30 and that didn't really feel right either. It's like, and then you find that, I don't know, 6:20 is like the best time for you to wake up, that you feel the best. So through a little bit of trial and error, I think you're finding what habits work for you. Or like maybe you're trying to quit sugar and you try like completely cutting it out and that doesn't feel very good. Or maybe you try limiting it, or like only to certain times of the day or only on special occasions. It's that feeling of going through the trial and error to find what works best for you, and also recognizing that this can fluctuate sometimes, this can change. So I think in building these habits, we're not trying to be rigid, and we're not trying to like whip ourselves into shape, but just give ourselves gentle discipline so that we can feel better. And I think it's, oh my gosh, okay. Very strong confirmation. Thank you, car horn. The most important thing to remember is that the whole point of this is for you to feel better. That is the whole point. So, and it may be uncomfortable because it always takes our brain and body some time to get used to new things and new habits. But just remember that the end goal, it's not like to punish yourself or to be very rough and rigid with yourself, but just so that you feel good and so that you feel more balanced. And Temperance is also about moderation. So that phrase, like everything in moderation, could be relevant to you guys, or giving yourself grace to adopt these new habits over time. And understand that it might take a few weeks or even a few months before you really get the hang of it, and that's okay. So be patient and kind with yourself as you are changing your lifestyle. But with the Ten of Swords and sacrifices, it does seem like there's some things that we need to give up because they're not doing good for our physical health or for our mental health or for our brain health or something like that. I actually want to read the sacrifices card out of the guidebook. I just decided for the reading today, I want to read the Wild Muse Oracle cards out of the guidebook. So let's go ahead and do that. Sacrifices is number 53. Here we go. And it's on page 125, in case that's relevant to you guys. It could be a date like January 25th, December 5th, or May 21st, or something like that, or May 12th. Okay, sacrifices. The message. With great success often comes great sacrifices. It is essential that you remind yourself about what truly matters to you in life, such as your health, career, or loved ones. Place your attention on keeping those things safe and be unafraid to sacrifice all else along your journey. Don't be afraid of this card. Sacrifices are more often than not a positive thing. When unnecessary elements of your life fall away, you can increase your effectiveness and focus on what truly matters to you. Sacrifice ultimately leads to you simplifying your life. I feel like I literally said that. That's cool. And making it to the next chapter. Just as a tree must sacrifice its leaves during autumn to conserve its energy, it's time for you to do the same and strip away the unnecessary. And it's interesting now that I think about it, with this 10 of Swords, and it's also interesting that I kind of slipped up and wanted to call it the 10 of Wands, because the 10 of Wands has a feeling of being like overloaded or overburdened with something. And Swords has to do with our mind. So there's a feeling of your brain is kind of at full capacity, meaning that you have too many things to give your attention to or too many things to worry about, and simply do not have the mental bandwidth or mental energy for that. And I'm hearing like you were never meant to. Like your human brain was never meant to have to worry about all of these things. I often think about how our society evolved so quickly and our human, like animal brains just cannot catch up. Like it's almost our brains were not made for this crazy fast society where everything is happening all at once and things are moving a million miles an hour and we're connected to so many people. If I use myself as an example, if I tried to care about the opinion of every single person who watches my video, like it's one thing to say, oh, you can't please everyone, like from a mental health perspective, but literally from a mental capacity perspective, like you physically cannot do that. And so I feel like this group, you may have too many things on your mental plate, like caring about too many things or worrying about too many things. And so maybe we have to reassess what is really a priority. Like it said in the guidebook, your career, your health, and your loved ones. But of course, it can be different for you. But reassessing what really matters to you and just, for lack of a better word, screw the rest, like release it to your guides. You don't have to worry about every single little thought that crosses your brain and give your energy to everything. For those of you who have a big goal in your career, in a creative pursuit, in your personal growth, sacrificing things or releasing commitments, releasing things that have a hold on your releasing things that have a hold on your intent. Why do I keep saying intention? Things that have a hold on your attention, but are not serving you in the pursuit of your goals and what really matters to you. Letting go of those things, you'll find you have so much more time and energy to effectively work on and invest in what you really care about. And you might have to be a bit strict in this habit that I have is not helping me in any way. Like, we gotta go, we gotta quit this thing. We gotta stop doing this. Maybe you have to delete an app from your phone because you have a habit of, oh, I'm just gonna look at it for 5 minutes, and then the next thing you know, it's 2 a.m. and you have to wake up in 5 hours and you just feel like crap the next day. Just being objective about what's not helping you reach your goals. So for the healing message, we have, if you have attachment issues or a hard time letting go of things in general, this card can feel very confronting and in a way maybe even threatening. You don't want to spread yourself too thin, but at the same time, you don't feel ready to let go of anything just yet. It's like standing in a closet full of things you never wear, this is calling me out, but not wanting to get rid of any of the items. These types of attachments to the temporal plane have become a socially acceptable part of being human. This is really interesting too, because temperance very much transcends the physical plane. It's a very spiritually evolved card. These types of attachments to the temporal plane have become a socially acceptable part of being human. However, remind yourself that any sacrifice you must make is only as big as you allow it to be. And in some instances, you must be willing to take a financial hit to move forward. In other times, you might have to sacrifice all your free time to learn a new skill that will help you in the long run. Remind yourself of why you must make this sacrifice and what good can come out of it. Make the process easy on yourself by allowing only supportive thoughts. That's very interesting. So we may be letting go of some materialism or some material things. We may be letting go of some things that in the long run are not good for us, but in the moment make us feel comfortable. And it's interesting too that after this energy, we have hope and new beginnings. Sunflower, it makes me think of, the sun coming up, a new start. We even have a sunrise in this card. In order to move forward to this bright future, it's like, imagine you're about to walk through this portal, this gateway, and you have a really, really big ass suitcase of all of this stuff that you're trying to bring with you. But the suitcase is so wide that it can't fit through the door. And you're like pulling on it, wishing you can bring everything with you, but you just can't. Like something's gotta go. Or it's like if I were to move into a smaller apartment and I cannot fit all my clothes in the closet, that's really gonna make me look at my clothes in a different way. Like, do I really need this? Is this really helping me? Is this really adding to my joy? Is this really adding to my health? And there's a feeling of energy that is being misdirected. Like you're giving your energy to these things or habits or people or whatever it might be. And it's like actively taking away from energy that you could be putting towards building yourself up, achieving your goals, learning skills that you need to learn, moving forward in your career, spending time with and prioritizing your loved ones, spending time for yourself, things that really matter. We have to relocate some energy, and then those things that we're not giving energy to anymore, they will just fall away. So let's get into your tarot now. We're going to use the Chubby Bun Tarot, which is very cute. And so the first thing that I want to see for my group number 2s is a significant blessing that will be coming your way in the next 6 months. We have the Queen of Cups. So because we have a queen coming through here, this is definitely giving me a feeling of a level of mastery. You have evolved into this queen. You are sitting on your throne. I'm about to give a very literal interpretation of this, but some of you guys might be going to the beach in the next 6 months. You might be taking a trip to a beach destination, a tropical destination, going to spend time by the water, like in a cottage by the lake or in a beach house or something like that. You may get a chance to have a retreat. And actually, for many of you, if you're struggling to give up on something, or if you don't even know where to start, some of you may have a feeling of, I know I'm overwhelmed, I know I have too much going, I know that I need to let some things go, but it's hard for me to pinpoint what needs to go or what is out of alignment. And the Queen of Cups is very much about connecting or reconnecting to our intuition, to our divine wisdom. That's something that the Queen of Cups has spent a lot of time cultivating. And I think many of you, some sort of retreat or vacation from your everyday life will be just what you need. And I feel for many of you, it will be in solitude. It will be just what you need to reconnect with your higher self. Be reminded, it's not about finding what truly matters to you, because I feel like that answer is already in your heart. It's just about quieting the noise around you so that you can rediscover it. The blessing that is coming to you is some form of stillness, of peace and quiet, of solitude, of some time away from all the noise of life, away from all of your responsibilities, so that you're able to focus on yourself and tune back into your inner voice. And it's interesting too, I feel like there was a message in the sacrifices card about like autumn. Yeah, a tree must sacrifice its leaves during autumn to conserve its energy. And this energy that's coming up here does feel a lot like autumn. You know, we're slowing down. We're getting ready to release the little dead bits on our life. It's like cutting off the dead ends of your hair. Things that are just adding weight or adding things to your plate, but not really bringing any value. But to know what is out of alignment, you're being reminded of what matters to you. You're reconnecting with your soul. So a blessing coming your way is some form of retreat or some form of escape that allows you to reconnect with your intuition. I think you'll also find that over the next 6 months, your psychic abilities are heightening. Or for others of you, your psychic abilities were always there. You're just learning how to trust them more. So you find that when you receive these messages, you're able to trust them easier without questioning them or doubting them. That's just something that comes more naturally to you. There's also something coming through, and maybe this is a bit more specific. I feel like a child or a grandchild, or perhaps a niece or nephew, will help to remind you of what really matters. So for example, and again, this is probably just for a couple of you, but like maybe you have a child in the next 6 months and it just really puts things back into perspective for you of like, yeah, I got to get my stuff together. I got to keep working hard, or like, this is what matters. Family is what matters. Not this other stuff that I was chasing, but this like bundle of joy in my arms is what truly matters. My family, my relationships. Like a child or grandchild coming into the world, or a niece or nephew coming into the world, or something like that, is helping to shift your perspective. I'm also noticing these look really similar. There's the queen here, and then there's 2 little ones like around the top of her head. For those of you who resonate with a child coming into the world, I feel like they've probably been with you already for quite some time as a guide. Spirit children have been guiding you. That's very interesting. For others of you, you may have 2 spirit guides. Wait, this was down here. For others of you, you may have 2 spirit guides who are helping you on this journey. And I think you'll definitely be blessed with a stronger connection to your spiritual guidance. Let's see a challenge for you guys. What is a challenge coming up in the next 6 months? We have the 9 of Cups. Interesting. So the 9 of Cups has to do, it has to do with wish fulfillment. But it also has to do with being at peace and being happy and content with what you already have. I think that, a lot of you guys are going to notice when you do this assessment and realize what matters to you the most, many of those things are already right here with you. You know, like if you realize that, oh, what matters the most to me is my family, it's like your family is already right there. I think you're realizing the things that make you happiest are not things that you need to chase. There's a difficult balance here, I think, that we're trying to find, where there's this side of you that wants to keep pushing yourself and wants to keep growing and reaching the next goal, earning more, accomplishing more, that kind of ambitious side, which is very beautiful and I think should be nurtured. But then there's also the side that just wants to be happy with what they have and just wants to be comfortable. And both of those energies are important, but they can seem kind of contradictory. The ambitious side sees the part of you that wants to be comfortable and says, you're settling, you're being lazy, you're wasting your potential. And then the side that wants to be comfortable sees the ambitious side and says, you're burning me out, or you're chasing, you think that happiness exists outside of you, like you just need to slow down and realize that your true happiness is right here. You're lying to yourself if you think your happiness is out there. It feels like there's these two sides of you that are kind of at odds, and there's this feeling of, how do I keep stepping out of my comfort zone, and how do I keep pushing myself without chasing, so to speak, or without burning myself out, or without putting my happiness and worth outside of me? And at the same time, like, how does that fit with being happy with what I already have? If I'm chasing something or pursuing something and pushing myself to reach a goal, does it mean I'm not happy with what I already have? If I slow down and just appreciate what I have, am I going to lose my momentum? Am I wasting my potential? There's like an inner conflict of how do I reconcile both of these energies? And I do think it's possible, you know? I'm happy with what I have, and I also want to keep going. I also want to keep working hard. It's just difficult. It's very much easier said than done. And there's both of these cards that came out so far are water, and so I think that it means that this is not really a science. This challenge that you're navigating, you must navigate it with your heart, and you must navigate it with your intuition. So, you know, even me giving you this reading, like if I'm sitting here telling you, oh, you have to sacrifice things and you have to be uncomfortable to make your goals happen. Like, if that doesn't feel right to you right now, like, ignore me. You have to do at the end of the day what feels right in your heart and what feels right to your intuition. Personally, I can kind of tune in and understand the difference between what I want to do and what I feel like doing, because they're not always the same. Sometimes I don't feel like exercising, but I want to exercise, and so I end up doing it. And then once I get into it, I enjoy it. But sometimes it's hard. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like it, but I want to do it, so I do it. Other times, I don't want to exercise, and then I don't end up doing it. So it really, you know, it's not like you're not a machine. You still have to check in with yourself, and your motivation levels and your feelings can be different from day to day. But it's about navigating, like, the difference between pushing yourself and overworking yourself, and the difference between, like, slowing down and getting too comfortable. And it all has to do with how you feel, but that's easier said than done. Like letting your intuition guide you can be kind of difficult. So I feel like that will be a challenge for you guys in the next 6 months. And what about a significant change? What is a significant change coming in for group number 2? We have the Two of Swords for a significant change. I think in general, you guys are shifting from making decisions from your logic or what you think you should do or what you think makes sense. And we're moving more towards making decisions with our intuition or through our spiritual guidance. This person on the Two of Swords card, they need to make a decision, but they're doing so with their physical eyes shut. And this crescent moon in the sky, crescent moons, I mean, the moon in general, but specifically crescent moons for some reason make me think of like intuition and psychic abilities. I think that over the next 6 months, you'll notice a closing of your two physical eyes, so to speak, and more of an opening of your third eye, where you understand that not everything is as it seems on the surface. Like there's more to what you see. It goes deeper. And the logical part of your mind doesn't necessarily always have to understand why you are doing certain things. You know, your logical mind might say, are you kidding me? Like you have to do this task right now, or you have to adhere to this rigid schedule, or else this bad thing is going to happen and that bad thing is going to happen. Meanwhile, your intuition is guiding you in a completely different direction. You might not understand why, but you do understand that my third eye is open. So if I'm feeling called to do this right now, there's a reason for it, and that reason will make itself known to me in time. There's a feeling of you're becoming able to believe before you see. And I guess blindly take the actions that your heart calls you to take, even if your physical eyes or your logical mind don't have proof right away of what the outcome is going to be. It's like we're going to stop making decisions by overanalyzing. We're going to stop being super calculated and go with our gut, because I think looking back, you'll have found that your gut was always right. Your gut was right all along. And we're coming back to that. This is an end to overthinking, overanalysis. We're not just trusting. Our senses can be very deceiving, you know. Things are not always as they appear. You're trusting more the energies that you feel going on behind the scenes. I think it's very interesting that we have like this night sky, because it makes me think of the High Priestess, who is also a number 2 card, but she sees what is hidden. She sees what is not so obvious. So might not make sense why I feel called to do this if I just use my 5 senses and like look at the time and look at my schedule and look at the world around me. But when I tap into something deeper inside of me, I just feel I'm moving in this direction. And I trust that I will know why that is once the action has been taken. Okay, so next we're going to pull a card to represent you in 6 months. So where are you going to be in 6 months? Where will you have ended up in exactly 6 months from when you are watching this? Oh my gosh, you got the exact same card as group number 1 for like this exact question. We love to see that. I do want to let you guys know that both the 9 of Cups and the 4 of Wands can talk about a wish coming true. So And probably whatever came to your mind when I said that, a wish that is close to your heart, will be coming true in the next 6 months. The Four of Wands is like one of the happiest cards in the whole tarot deck. So needless to say, you will be very happy and content. There's also a feeling of having your stuff together with this number 4. I feel like your life feels organized. It feels stable to you. It feels secure. You feel like you're in a rhythm, you know what you're doing, you feel safe, you feel protected, you feel grounded. You're surrounded by loved ones as well, or surrounded by family. For some of you, this could be, technically the Four of Wands, one of the meanings that it has is like weddings and marriage. So if that resonates for you, some of you, I just heard like you're reuniting with a spouse or reuniting with a loved one. Maybe you've been physically separated for a long time, like your spouse had to go somewhere for work, or your significant other. I just got a message specifically for like long distance relationships, or maybe you have family that lives very far away, and in 6 months from now, you're going to be reunited with them. You're going to be together, or you're going to be living very close together. For those of you who have a significant other, you could be living with them in 6 months from now if you're not already. For those of you who are single and looking for a partner, this does give vibes of a future spouse, of a divine counterpart situation. So if you haven't met this person yet, you probably will have met them in 6 months' time. I don't necessarily know if you're going to be in the complete union in 6 months, but you will have met them. And there's also a message of a happy home life and a happy domestic life. We had the message before of simplifying your life. So some of you guys might be doing a big, like a huge clean of your house, a huge decluttering of your house, living in a more minimalist way and only keeping things around you that bring you a lot of joy. And that's something that's going to become a lot easier for you guys, because we see you're able to make decisions quicker because you're tapped into your higher guidance. So going back to that like clothes in the closet example, instead of staring at this shirt for 5 minutes and analyzing, how many times have I worn this in the last year? In what situations might I wear it in the future? You just have that gut feeling of like, no, I don't need this anymore. This isn't bringing me joy anymore. Yes, I want to keep this. So almost that your physical surroundings are a better reflection of what is going on inside of you and what you really need and what you really desire in that moment. But yeah, this is what you need to take away from this card, is that it's happiness and wish fulfillment and being close to the ones that you love most. Now, at the bottom of the deck is going to be a message from the version of you 6 months in the future. So the message from future you is the Ace of Pentacles. This is really sweet. I feel like this is your future self acknowledging how hard you worked for them. Like all of the hard work that you're doing right now, you are laying down the groundwork for your future self to thrive. Because of the hard work you're doing now, it's going to allow your future self to have more opportunities and to be more abundant. So they want to thank you for that. They want to let you know that your hard work did pay off for them. So just keep going. I feel like the next year could be a lot of hard work for you guys, where you just kind of have to keep your head down, keep showing up, keep committing to your habits or the skills that you're trying to master, keep committing to your projects, and yeah, just like keep your head down for a year. And in a year from now, you're going to be feeling like this sunflower. You're going to be feeling so accomplished, so happy, so proud of yourself. You will have walked through this portal to a new beginning in your life. The Ace of Pentacles could be, your future self could be hinting to you that there is a new beginning coming in your career, or your financial situation is improving, or your living situation is improving. Some of you could be buying a home or moving into a place that is more to your liking, or your financial situation is improving so that you can go live near your loved ones, or you can help your loved ones come to you. I see your financial situation directly benefiting your loved ones or facilitating your relationship with your loved ones. I like that both of these have a gateway to them as well. And they both have mountains on the other side. A new beginning is assured for you. It is going to be hard work because mountains represent hard work, challenges, but it's going to be worth it. The sky is clear in this card, so it seems for a lot of you guys to reach your goals, the way is clear. It's like you know what to do. It's just doing it that can be kind of daunting. But if you keep your head down and commit, your future self is saying you won't be disappointed. And I'm very grateful for all of the hard work that you've done. Underneath this, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So your future self also wants you to know that the universe is on your side. You know, climbing this mountain might be difficult, but it will be less difficult when the universe shows up with a motorcycle or a jetpack for you or some snacks along the way. Don't doubt the universe. The universe will always be around. Spirit will always be looking after you and giving you little Easter eggs on your journey and little power-ups on your journey. The universe is definitely working in your favor. So let's finish off this reading with some last oracle cards for more advice. Connect with others, host a movie night or have a slumber party, surround yourself with loving energy. I see you guys very surrounded by loved ones. And as a piece of advice, I mean, I can't interpret this very deeply, but just connect more with your loved ones, reach out to your friends, your family more. There could be advice to open up or be more vulnerable with a person of interest, but your future self wants to remind you how loved you are. I do feel that this group, you have some beautiful people around you, or these people are coming in the next 6 months. And I think, again, you'll find after reflection that what really does matter to you more than material things is connection, is your loved ones, your family, your partner. And even if you are ambitious to some professional goal, I think a big part of that comes back to your loved ones in the end, or it comes back to what you love in the end. We have practice. So many of you guys could be working on a skill or mastering a skill in the next 6 months. I feel like that's come up a few times, and you're being encouraged to be more committed to this practice. Even if it's just like 10 minutes a day, consistency will really help. It's better to do 10 minutes a day than to do like 2 hours in one day, once a month. So more consistency, and even if you're starting small, that's very, very fine, because that effort is going to compound over time. Actually, I don't know if this is exactly the same thing, but I feel like sometimes the improvement happens in between those practice sessions. I guess that makes sense. You know, like if you're studying and you're just not really getting a problem, and then you go to sleep, and when you're sleeping, your brain is like putting the pieces together and figuring it out, and then you come back to it the next day and suddenly you get it. And I feel like practicing more consistently will help you have more of these epiphanies, even if it's only for a small time. And I was gonna mention that it happens sometimes. I take pole dancing lessons sometimes, and I will have a 1 hour lesson and I'm trying to do this trick and I just can't freaking do it. I keep like falling down, or I can't get into the proper form. And then I go home, and then I come back a week later or 2 weeks later and I get it on the first try. And it's weird. It's like in those 2 weeks, clearly I didn't suddenly become way stronger or way better at it, but it's like in that off time, something I guess just clicked in my brain or like in my muscle memory, but it clicked while I was away. It's like show up consistently for your skills, work on it a little bit and then step away from it and then come back and work on it again. Your future self wants you to know that even those moments of rest in between, you're getting better. I'm sorry about that delivery. It was kind of all over the place, but I hope that that makes sense for you. Yeah, but it's better to do a little bit more consistently than like go a really long time without doing it and then suddenly binge practice, I think is what they want you to do. And then finally, for your Thera-pets card, aw, no one else knows what they're doing either. It's all going to turn out fine. Yeah, I think you're doing a much better job than you realize. You might look around and it looks like everyone has their life figured out and knows what they're doing, but no one really does. I remember sometimes my mom would tell me, like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And that's okay. I feel like this idea of, you know, we reach the end of the road and now we just know what we're doing and now we're just settled. Like, it doesn't work that way. We're continuously figuring things out in life, and we're continuously learning and continuously healing, and putting a pressure on yourself to have it all together is going to cause you unnecessary pain and suffering. Of course, that doesn't mean just completely give up on yourself, but don't be mean to yourself is what I'm trying to say. Do your best. Recognize that you're never going to know everything or feel like you have it all together, and that's okay. The most important thing is that you're doing your best and that you're showing up consistently, and that's all anyone could ever ask for. It's all going to turn out fine. Yes. So my group number 2s, these are all the messages I have for you. So I'm going to end the reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself. Stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are also timeless and just like these videos, except for you get to pick the topic for them. You can find my music on my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. And finally, I have merch at kinotarot.com, which features the temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. And also I have a vlog channel, Kino Vlogs. A lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. So all of it is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means so much to me. Just thank you for being here. Group number 2s, I am sending so much love to you, to everyone who may be playing a role in your next 6 months, to your spirit guides, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi number 3s, so if you guys chose the orange calcite, this is going to be a reading all about your next 6 months, so let's get right into it. We're going to start off with some tarot cards and oracle cards to see what you'll be focusing on or what you are encouraged to focus on during the next 6 months. So for your tarot cards, we have the Devil and the Four of Wands. And then for your oracle cards, we have the Best of You, Orchid with the message Fertility, and Home. Okay, so starting off here with the Devil, we do have some Capricorn energy here. You could have Capricorn placements, or somebody who has Capricorn placements could be playing a very significant role in your life over the next 6 months. Also, I don't know when you are watching this video, but if Capricorn season does happen to fall within the 6 month period from now, then that could be an important time. So Capricorn season is late December to late January. And then here with the Four of Wands, this is funny. Every group so far has gotten the Four of Wands. Groups 1 and 2, they got it like in the next part of their reading, but yeah, 3 out of 3 so far, which leads me to believe that this collective who is watching this video, a lot of us just have good things coming to us over the next 6 months. It's really, really nice to see. As I've said for all of the other groups, the Four of Wands is one of the happiest cards in tarot. And so for this to be coming out as it pertains to your focus, there is an encouragement here to focus on what really brings you joy. And I have a feeling that in the next 6 months, some adjustments are going to be made in your life that allows you to do that. So either you are going to make changes in your life so that you can focus on what you really love, or the universe will step in and make some changes. Because with the Devil here, it does seem like a lot of you guys are held back in some way right now. I don't know if it's you who is holding yourself back. Like maybe there's some kind of self-sabotage going on when it comes to doing what really makes you happy. Or it could be other constraints that are placed on you right now, like time constraints, financial constraints, something about logistics or your location. So if you feel that something external is holding you back right now, I get the sense that that is going to be shifted for you. But others of you may need to be made aware of the ways in which you could be holding your own self back from what you really love. We're going to go into the guidebook for this card. I've been reading the guidebook for the cards from this deck, but if I'm not mistaken, it does have something to do with like, stop making excuses, step up, take the best care of yourself possible, live the best life you can. Actually, let's just go ahead and take a look at that right now. But I do want to mention, with this being card number 3, it often reminds me of the Empress, and especially because we have fertility right next to it. I feel like the next 6 months is going to be a very fertile time for you guys. So in a more abstract sense, any seeds that you are planting right now will grow and bear fruit within the next 6 months. So any intentions that you set right now or anything that you put your effort into, you are going to see it pay off in 6 months from now. We could also interpret this in a bit more of a literal way if any of you guys watching are trying to have children and be fertile in that way, then the next 6 months could be a very good time for that. Even with home here, maybe some of you guys are trying to start a family or grow your family or move your family somewhere or just make a happier life for your family. I feel like this area of your life is going to be very blessed, your home and family, if that's something that you're trying to pursue. For others of you, home here, focusing on your home, I just feel like interpreting things very literally for this group. Focusing on your house, focusing on your living situation. We spoke about self-sabotage, holding yourself back, making excuses. Maybe some of you guys have let your room get quite messy or let chores pile up. Maybe we need to do a big deep clean of our house or a big decluttering. Or maybe it's a time of our life where we need to ask ourselves, am I really happy with my living situation? Am I happy with where I'm living? Am I happy with the circumstances? Am I happy with who I'm living with? If I'm living alone, am I happy with that? Or do I want to pursue a different kind of lifestyle? Let's read the best of you from the guidebook. The message, oh, and by the way, this is on page 25 in case that's relevant. Could it be that you haven't been making enough time to pamper and spoil yourself recently? Because you really should make that a priority right now. An unexpected event is coming up in your life, and you will be thankful to feel and look your best during this time, especially when you look back on pictures and videos of yourself. Therefore, quit skipping your workout and pack on the hydrating face masks. Your guides want to see the best of you. And the healing message is, you might be self-sabotaging by going through life feeling okay or mediocre. You take care of everyone around you, yet you are lazy and inconsistent when it comes to your own self-care. Not only are you doing yourself a disservice, but also those closest to you. Give yourself in this world the best of you, not what's left of you. We all want to see you sparkle and shine, but you must be in charge of your light. Yes, so I thought that it was something like this for this card. And again, some of you may be listening to this message and thinking like, yeah, you know what? I have been inconsistent. I haven't been taking care of myself. I need to step up a little bit. Others of you might listen to this and think, well, yeah, but I literally have all of these constraints on me. Like, I freaking wish I had time for self-care, but unfortunately, that is just not my reality. So whatever case you may find yourself in, I want you to know that things will be shifting for you so that you can prioritize your own self-care, whatever needs to shift, whether it's just a mindset shift or whether it's like external circumstances in your life need to shift. The shifts are going to be happening. Another thing that is coming to my mind actually though with the devil is that this can also talk about limiting beliefs, like our own beliefs or negative self-talk holding us back. And so one thing that might be holding you guys back from caring for yourself, for putting effort into yourself, is you might have this idea that that is selfish. By putting yourself first, you are inevitably like putting your family second, or you're neglecting your responsibilities, or you're being selfish, or maybe you have a limiting belief that if I put effort into my appearance, it means that I'm vain, or if I decide to change something about my appearance, it means that I don't love myself. It's like you have some beliefs in place that are stopping you from putting the love and care into yourself that you really deserve. You deserve to pamper yourself, as the guidebook was saying, and you deserve to feel beautiful, and you deserve to love how you look. You know, I think a lot of people dismiss that as just being like superficial or vain, but yeah, and this goes back to the Empress being about like beauty and sensuality. It's a very beautiful part of life. Like loving your body, or loving the way you look, or loving your sensuality or sexuality or whatever it might be. That's a very beautiful thing. And people who might judge you for that or call it frivolous or call it selfish, I honestly feel bad for them, because they probably feel that same way about taking care of themselves. And I think this world would be a really beautiful place if we all took care of ourselves and committed to our happiness and showed up as our best self and didn't see that as something selfish. Even this guidebook was saying, it was like your loved ones want the best of you, not what's left of you, or it was something to that effect. And putting energy back into yourself, funnily enough, is the best way that you can show up 100% for the people you love. Like, the world wants to see you shine. Your loved ones, your spirit guides, they want to see you shine. So some of you are getting over this limiting belief that it's like bad or selfish to invest back into yourself, or just to take some time to spoil yourself. You could be really falling in love with the way that you look over the next 6 months, taking care of your appearance, taking care of your fitness, or using beauty as like a self-care ritual, like a skincare routine or a hair care routine, or the act of dressing yourself and putting on accessories every day, or putting makeup on. That could be something of a ritual for you. And anything can be a ritual if we do it with intention. But doing it as an act of self-care, doing it to make you shine and not feeling like you shouldn't do that or you don't deserve to do that. Even things like making your home look nice, putting nice possessions or nice decorations in your home. It's like you have these limiting beliefs that are stopping you from enjoying things. And that makes a lot of sense with the Devil and the Four of Wands, because this is your joy. This is your unfiltered, unapologetic joy. And the Devil is putting chains on it. It's like you have some, maybe even some guilt associated with your own pleasure or spending time on what you love to do. Or maybe you have thoughts that it's impractical, it's silly, it's frivolous. And maybe with home here, maybe that comes from your upbringing, like the living situation of your childhood. With fertility and this Empressy energy, it could be from parents. But I think we're breaking free from those chains in the next 6 months. And yeah, we deserve the best. We deserve the best things. We deserve to look our best. We deserve to feel our best. That's really making me think of Empress energy. She's just limitlessly abundant and limitlessly beautiful. I think and now I'm thinking of, there's a card in the fallback deck, which we're actually going to use at the end of this reading. It says, like, fall in love with how you feel when you're taking care of you. So I think you're really falling in love or falling back in love with yourself in the next 6 months, and how it feels when you take care of yourself, and how you can then show up for others as your best self. So let's get into your tarot now. Oh my gosh, it's starting to get hot. As some of you guys know, I have a west-facing apartment, so in the afternoon the sun gets very, very warm. Okay. Group number 3. So the first thing that I want to see, what is a big blessing that will be coming in for group number 3 in the next 6 months? Okay, we have the 8 of Swords. I'm just going to drink some water as well. Yeah, and we have this similar imagery of being chained up, of being tied up. So yeah, you guys are really stifled right now in some way. Some of you guys over the next 6 months, you will be able to get out of a situation or get out of an environment that was really stifling for you. For some of you, I'm even hearing soul crushing. Like, for example, a job that you hate or a living situation that feels suffocating. You are freeing yourself from something that was stifling at best or soul crushing at worst. For others of you, this may be a more abstract is not the right word, but a non-physical thing. Like, you are freeing yourself from a mentality that was really crushing your soul, from harsh judgments that you placed on yourself that were crushing your soul. There could also be freeing from an addiction, freeing from, or getting a mental health problem or mental illness under control so that it doesn't control you. Because with the 8 of Swords, we are freeing ourselves from a mental prison or freeing ourselves from mental anguish. So that's going to be a big blessing for you guys, a weight that is being lifted. Also, that you're not holding yourself back anymore. I think a big change that's happening in you over the next 6 months is that you're not hiding away. I just heard like you're not being humble anymore. And that's not to say that you're being cocky, but it's that you don't downplay yourself or you don't try to take up the least space possible. You're proud to be here. You're not ashamed of yourself anymore. You're proud to be here. You're proud of who you are. You're proud to take up space, and you don't downplay your accomplishments anymore, whether that was out of a fear of coming off like a show off or a fear of making someone else uncomfortable. Like, you just don't do that anymore. I feel like you're becoming more comfortable with standing out and more comfortable with being recognized and more comfortable with receiving attention, whatever kind of attention that might be. Some of you may be getting more comfortable in the spotlight. But I'm also thinking back to the guidebook was saying like there's an unexpected event. I'm just going back. An unexpected event coming up, and you're going to feel and look your best during the event, and look back on the pictures and videos and feel super proud of yourself. So this is a very specific message, but some of you guys will have a chance to perform in front of people or speak in front of people or walk in front of people. Like, I'm just imagining someone walking down the runway. There's this image of you being in front of a crowd and really feeling yourself and being very proud that you have these eyes on you and you're not scared or you're not embarrassed. You're like, here I am, look at me. This is what I'm doing. This is what I have going on. There's also a feeling of some restrictions are being lifted from you. Like you're free, you're in the clear. You were in a very restricted situation and now that has been lifted and you have more freedom. Some of you are also getting a license of some kind, like a driver's license or a motorcycle license or a boat license or something. A license that gives you more freedom. Or you're getting like the next level of a license that gives you more freedoms. So the next thing we're going to see is a challenge. What will be a challenge for group number 3 in the next 6 months? And we have the Fool. And I did want to mention, when I was shuffling for this card, it was taking quite a long time for the card to come out. The deck was very nice and neat. It was shuffling very smoothly. It was just taking time for it to come out. So something that might be a challenge for you guys in the next 6 months is patience. So if there's something that you guys are trying to manifest or something that you've really been waiting on, there is kind of a feeling that your patience will be tested during this time. With the Devil and the 8 of Swords here, some of you guys take this how it resonates, but you might have a habit of getting tunnel vision on things or kind of obsessing over things, which is not always great. So I don't know, for example, if you went on a date and then the person hasn't texted you back and it's been a couple days, you might start to really get in your head about, oh, did I do something wrong? Maybe they didn't like me, or when are they gonna reach out to me? Or if there's, like I said before, if there's something you're trying to manifest, you might really get in your head about it, like, when is it gonna come? Did I do something to delay it? Did I do something to push it away? What's going on? Maybe you check on it a lot, like watching a lot of readings or reaching out to someone a lot, or just having it on your head a lot. And the Fool has nothing on his head. He's a fool and he's 0. He's about to fall off the cliff. That is how nothing in his head he has. I don't even know if that was a proper sentence, but there's a feeling of like, okay, I can relate to this, and because I'm quite like this. A few times in my life I have applied for visas, to stay in Japan, and it can take about 3 months to hear back. I'm the type of person who will be worrying those whole 3 months if I'm gonna get accepted, and just be thinking about it as I go through my days. And so the challenge of being the Fool is to say, okay, I submitted the application, nothing I can do about it now, it's in their hands, so it's out of my mind now. It's out of my hands, out of sight, out of mind, and I'm just gonna keep going through life, not thinking about it. And when it happens, it happens. That's tough. If you have this kind of brain, that can be quite tough. So I think that's going to be a challenge for you guys in the next 6 months. Is there's something that you guys are trying to manifest, or maybe you've submitted something and you're waiting for a response, or you just really want something to happen. And the challenge is not obsessively thinking about it in the meantime, and just being able to go about your life and be carefree, not worrying about the outcome, because you should rest assured knowing, like, I did what I needed to do on my end. It's out of my hands now. I'm sure it's going to be fine. Let me just go about my life. It's not getting, pulled back to that worry all the time. So either through keeping yourself busy, or just keeping yourself in the present moment, or just completely releasing it and not thinking about anything. That's the energy that I think you're wanting to step into, to just be like this carefree, frolicking fool, but it can be quite difficult. So this could be with regards to a specific manifestation that you guys are trying to bring in right now, or just your mind in general. Like your mind just might do that for everything. It's interesting, this Fool card. I feel like I don't see this a lot, but in this deck, it really looks like the dog is barking to the Fool, like, hey, be careful, you're gonna fall off the cliff. And I feel like this dog might represent intrusive thoughts that you have. It's like, do you ever just get too carefree and too calm, and then your brain is like, something's gonna go wrong, like it's too calm? You might have a dog like that barking in your head, like an overly active watchdog in your brain, who the second you start to relax and let your guard down, you're like, something bad's gonna happen. And I can actually see how that relates back to the message of taking care of yourself. You might say to yourself, okay, today I'm gonna completely disconnect, like I'm gonna turn off my phone and I'm gonna give myself a spa day. Like I'm gonna take a bubble bath, I'm gonna watch my favorite show, I'm gonna light some scented candles, like I'm gonna read, I'm gonna meditate, I'm just gonna take a me day. The second you turn off your phone and get into the bath, you're like, what if someone needs me? What if a work email comes in? It's like, this watchdog is just doing too much. That's the feeling. And it's like, the second you start to relax, the watchdog is like, something's gonna go wrong because you're relaxing, like you're slacking, you're letting your guard down. So letting that watchdog know that everything's gonna be okay, I think is also a challenge of the next 6 months. As a very different interpretation, spending time with a companion animal could be very soothing. Or you may have an animal guide. The next thing that we're going to look at is a significant change that is happening for you in the next 6 months, and we have the Page of Swords. There's a big change coming in. Yeah, there's a big change coming in your mindset. You're more free. Free from overthinking, free from worries. You're cultivating a peace of mind over the next 6 months. But what I will say with this Page of Swords is that he can talk about kind of like the cold, hard truth and just telling it like it is. Truths that can be kind of hard to face or kind of hard to swallow, or like being blunt, like give it to me straight. That's the Page of Swords. So some of you may need to be very blunt with yourself, especially when it comes to, am I holding myself back? Am I sabotaging myself? Am I being inconsistent with my self-care? Like we spoke about in the guidebook, like going above and beyond for everyone else, but then slacking when it comes to your own care. So a big change in your mindset may come from just like sitting down with yourself and being like, okay, we have to be very brutally honest. Am I taking care of myself? Am I being good to myself the way I'm good to everyone else? Am I committed to what makes me happy, or am I holding myself back? Are the everyday habits and how I show up for myself, to me, does that look like someone who loves themselves? Does that look like someone who is taking care of themselves? So maybe there is a need to call yourself out a little bit in order to take better care of yourself. Pages can also indicate children. So with fertility, with home, with this Empressy energy, this could be another confirmation that some of you guys will have a little one in your life. If that's something you're hoping for. This is an air sign, so we could have an air sign baby coming in, a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Or if you already have children, a big change that is happening in your life could have to do something with your child. So maybe like your child is in the gifted program and now they're going to a different school, or you're moving so that your child can grow up in a better environment. So for those of you who do have children, a big change coming in your life could be to, like, for your child, to accommodate them, to help them grow, or as a result of your child moving to the next stage in their life, that could affect and greatly change your life too. For those of you who don't have children or won't have children, then Page of Swords I've also seen as representing friends. So there could be a change in your friendships in the next 6 months. That could be new friends coming into your life, or again, a significant change in your friend's life that then affects you. So maybe a friend of yours is moving away, or a friend of yours is moving closer to you. Maybe a friend of yours is getting married, and that changes things. Maybe a friend has a child and then you don't see them as often, or you don't hang out in the same way as before. It's not better or worse, it's just different. So next we're going to see, where will you be in 6 months? In 6 months from now, whenever you're watching this, where will you be? Aw, we have the 9 of Pentacles. Wait, I need another sip of water. 9 of Pentacles, that is awesome. So first of all, you guys have a beautiful balance in your life now, which I love to see, like a beautiful work-life balance, as well as a beautiful balance between taking care of yourself and taking care of others. So the main focus that we've seen for your next 6 months definitely looks like you have accomplished finding this balance in your life. There's a feeling of something that was once everything to you in a kind of unhealthy way has mellowed out a bit. So maybe, let's say you're like a workaholic, and so work becomes everything to you. You're constantly working or thinking about work or worrying about work. And in 6 months from now, I see you as someone who still, is very passionate about what they do and very hardworking, but it's not everything. It's not their whole world. And nothing should grow so big that it consumes you and becomes everything to you. So, imagine these pentacles are all, areas of your life. Like, this is your job, and this is your romantic relationship, and this is your parents, and this is your health and like physical body and your hobbies or whatever. They're all kind of balanced, but if one of them overgrows, then it squashes all the other things and we become consumed in it. So something that was a huge part of your life, that was like everything, I think it's kind of shrinking back to a healthier size, if that makes sense. And yeah, for some of you, it could be your work. It could be a person that started taking up too much space in your head. And so that kind of shrunk a bit. We're getting over those things that were consuming us so that we have a more healthy balance in our life. Maybe it was even tarot readings, which would be kind of ironic, but maybe like watching tarot readings and worrying about the future was one of these coins that became too big. And it's not necessarily that we're cutting it off entirely. It's just shrinking back to its healthy size. Yes. This also indicates fulfillment and success in your career, especially for those of you who are self-employed or you want to be self-employed. This is a great card to have. It shows that you will be successful in your self-employed ventures. Not only will you have good financial compensation for what you do, but the work that you do will be very valued and appreciated by those around you. This is also a card that talks about confidence and feeling yourself, which is great. It matches very well with the other energies we've read. And it can also talk about independence and like feeling good on your own. The 9 of Pentacles, she's like a strong, independent woman. She can indicate a single person. For those of you who are single right now, you will probably still be single in 6 months from now. But I don't see you being worried about that. So you're either like happily single, or maybe at the time you're watching this, you're like, no, I don't want to be single. But by the time you get to 6 months from now, you will be happy about it. It doesn't mean that you don't want a partner. I just think that you're not worried because you've mastered this art of like being patient. And if something's not here and it's out of my control, I'm not going to worry myself about it. I'm just going to keep frolicking through life like the fool. I'm going to keep focusing on myself. And when it comes, it comes. It's like you're not stressed. So if love is something that you're looking for, it might take longer than 6 months, but you 6 months from now is not stressed about that. I hope that that makes sense. So okay. The next card that we want to look at is the bottom of the deck, and that's going to be a message from you in 6 months. And we have the Knight of Cups. Aw. Be gentle with yourself is definitely a message from your future self. Be gentle, go slowly. There's no need to rush yourself. There's very few things that are worth stressing yourself out about. And I can tell you that because I'm from the future. Very few things are worth stressing yourself out. Go at your own pace. Take all the time you need. They could also be hinting that some of your limiting beliefs and some of your worries, or actually maybe a lot of them, they don't really come from you, but they're things that you absorb from the energies around you or from the narratives around you. The Knight of Cups to me is the empath card. So someone who is gifted at picking up on the energies around them, but it's a double-edged sword because you're more susceptible to energies around you, and you can carry emotions, energies that are not yours, but feel as if they're yours. Cleansing your energy could be something you have to put, or you're encouraged to put a little bit of extra effort into, and protecting your energetic field. And honestly, this can be, you really don't have to do anything fancy for this. It can be as easy as asking your spirit guides to protect you, asking your angels to cleanse you, to surround you with light. You can also I like carrying black rocks, black stones. You can keep one in your purse, or I have a bracelet that I wear, a black obsidian bracelet. And you can probably make these yourself. I personally bought them at like a spiritual shop. But like the beings who I work with who protect me, I got like essential oil that is made after them. That's a weird way to put it. And just wear it on my wrists. Yeah, there's no right or wrong way to do it. And I think we even spoke about it in this reading. Like anything you do can be made a ritual if you put that intention into it. So even the act of putting your makeup on in the morning, if you do that act with the intention of energetic protection, of cleansing your energy, I know it sounds weird, but you can imbue anything with any intention you desire. You can drink water with the intention to manifest. You can exercise with the intention of, as I sweat and as I exhale, I'm releasing bullshit, I'm releasing negativity. So doing more things with intention and recognizing that there's the potential for magic in everything you do could also be a piece of advice from your future self. And I also want to say, for those of you who are waiting on someone to come in, because this can indicate someone coming towards you, especially in love, they might be chiming back in here to say they are coming. They are coming. It may not be in the next 6 months, but they are coming. But the Knight of Cups is someone who's coming slowly, leisurely, at their own pace, and there's no rush, and there's no forcing, and there's no worry. And I think that's really how your future self wants you to live your life. To just flow and be like this fool. So, yeah, patience and peace of mind. That's the priority for your future self. So let's finish off this reading with some oracle cards for Some last guidance for you. Be what you seek. Let your desires inspire you to transform. Match the vibration of what you want. So the best way for you guys to manifest is to become what you want. Imagine the version of you who is living your dream life and ask yourself, what are their habits? Literally, what are their habits? Where do they live? What do they eat? What do they look like? What is their self-talk like? How do they interact with other people? What time do they go to bed? Like, you can get really specific about it, but you are always the one thing that you can control. So when you dream about your future self in your ideal life, just look at you and craft that version of you and do what you can to become that version of you. I think it's called like reverse engineer. So you figure out what the dream version of you is like, and then the current you, and what do I have to change in the current me to become that me. And you can break it down really small. I used to do this with my life coach, like, okay, what can I do in the next year? And then you break it down even more. What can I do in the next month? What can I do in the next week? And then break it down to what can I do today to become this future version of me, so that it's less overwhelming. But there are things that you can do today. There are things that you can do every day that will add up. So becoming what you want. And I would also say, for those of you who are trying to manifest a specific person or a certain type of people into your life, become what you seek in other people. Think about what your ideal partner is and become that for yourself. We also have love your dark side too. So there's some themes of becoming aware of yourself. One thing that might help you to manifest your dream life as well is to reclaim a side of you that was once shunned away. Reclaim a side of you that was once shunned away. So maybe in the past you have been taught that you are bossy, and so you shut away that side of yourself. But really, this is a side of you that is assertive, that knows what they want, and that is not afraid to ask for it, that has a very strong vision. But because you have deemed that side of you as like bossy or selfish or overbearing, it got shut away. I'm imagining someone going into like their basement and opening an old, like a box of old stuff. You know, when you rediscover old things, like, oh my gosh, this photo album from 10 years ago, like look at this photograph, or like you find your old clothes, or you find like your baby toys or something, or like that item that you were looking for that you thought you lost. It was there in a box in your basement. And I'm just picturing someone like going into their basement, they open up the box, and you find qualities of yourself. You're like, I haven't used this in a while. Like, when did I stop using this? When did I stop embodying this trait? Oh, right. It was in 2016 when Darren said I was annoying. I shut this trait right away, and it became a shadow, a part of me that I can't see anymore. And I distanced myself from it. I disidentified with it. I disassociated from it. But now you're rediscovering it. And maybe I can reclaim this. Maybe I can take this back and see the positive side of it. So in there, I think, lies the key to becoming your dream self. You have to bring back some of the traits of yours that you had banished for some reason or another. I feel like I'm kind of doing this with my Aries energy recently, trying to reclaim my Ariesness. Okay, so your last card, the Thera-pets card. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be scared. You will succeed in spite of these feelings. Okay, so my group number 3s, those are all the messages I have for you. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are also timeless, and just like these videos, except for you get to choose the topic. You can find my music on my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. And finally, I have a vlog channel, Kino Vlogs, and I also have merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It means so much to me. And thank you for being here. Group number 3s, I'm sending so much love to you, to anyone who might play a significant role in your next 6 months, sending lots of love to your spirit guides, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi number 4s, so if you guys chose the pink Chalcedony, this is going to be a reading all about your next 6 months, so let's get right into it. We're going to start off by looking at some tarot cards and some oracle cards to see what you are focusing on in the next 6 months or what you are being encouraged to focus on. So for your tarot cards, we have the Hierophant, and we have the Hanged Man. And then for your oracle cards, we have There Is Always a Way, Violet with the message Spirituality, Psychic Energy, and finally Talent. Okay, so one thing that is definitely coming through, first of all, let me just mention, with the Hierophant here, we have Taurus energy, and with the Hanged Man, we have Pisces energy. So you could have Taurus or Pisces placements, or this could also be indicating that a Taurus person or a Pisces person, or both, could be playing a very significant role in your life during the next 6 months. Also, I don't know when you may happen to be watching this video, but if Taurus season or Pisces season falls within the next 6 months for you, then that could be an important time. So Taurus season is late April to late May. Pisces season is late February to late March. But taking a look at these tarot cards here, I think a big focus for you guys is cultivating your talents and cultivating your gifts through some form of education or studying. This could be self-study, so you are taking it upon yourself to practice your talent more, to learn more about the techniques, to watch interviews of people who also have this talent, to read books, to go to lessons. You could be getting formal education through a school or even a one-on-one coach or instructor. So it could be just educating yourself, or it could be through another person or through a whole institution. But the most important thing is that you are investing in your skills and investing in your talents, and you are learning and educating yourself in some way. With the Hierophant and the Hanged Man here, there's a couple different ways that I can interpret these messages. Some of you, and this is kind of specific, but some of you guys might be taking a gap year or taking a semester off or taking some kind of break from an educational program in the next 6 months, or you could be coming back to school after a long break. So for example, some of you maybe are taking a year off of school to focus on another talent or another passion of yours, or others of you, maybe you haven't been to school in like years and you're going back to pursue something new. But there's something about a break in schooling, I think, with the Hanged Man and the Hierophant, if I put these two together. Now, with this message, there is always a way. I think that in the next 6 months, you are going to be finding the solution to a problem that has been hanging over your head. Maybe some of you have even started to give up on it or completely given up on it because you're like, this is just not possible. I'm not going to find a way to make this happen. But surprise, surprise, as this oracle card says, in the next 6 months, you will find a way, some kind of loophole or some kind of other approach. Let's go ahead and read this from the guidebook. I've been reading the Wild Muse oracle cards from the guidebook for every group. So this is card number 34. And it is on page 87, in case that's relevant to you guys. So the message for this card says, this card is a reminder of the endless possibilities that life has in store for you, even when it seems like defeat is the only option. Defeat is only an option if you make it one. Even when you face extremely challenging situations and feel like you have exhausted all your options, remember there is always a way. There is always a shining star of hope, another possibility, as long as you put your ego aside. You have the power to choose your emotions and to create a reality in which you always find a way to resolve any difficult situations you may be facing. And then the healing message is, feeling like your back is against the wall is stressful and limits your ability to problem solve. Try this instead. The next time you feel like there's no way out and your back is pressed up against that cold, hard wall, imagine the part of the wall in contact with your body becoming soft and light, almost like cotton candy. You are now able to quickly pull it apart and travel through to the other side of what once was a solid wall. What awaits you on the other side is endless possibility, abundance, and cheerfulness. You always have the power to create this other side. No matter how trapped you feel, your thoughts are only as restricted as you make them. Free your mind from feeling like ahead lies nothing but a dead-end street. Embrace the mindset of always being able to access accomplishment, joy, and happiness. I agree so hard with this card. There is always a way. There's always a way. You may have to take a detour, take a different approach, look at the issue from a different perspective. You may have to leave the issue alone for a while and come back to it at a different time, but there is always a way out, or there is always a way to find a solution and to get where you want to be. So a situation where you guys have felt stuck, where you felt like you were defeated, perhaps you felt like the odds were stacked against you, maybe even something related to your education, an educational goal or an educational program, or something that you had to do through an institution. The Hierophant can talk about these sorts of higher institutions, organizations with their rules and their authority, and you have to pass their tests to make it in life. You may have thought that with the rules and regulations that are in place, or with the way something is structured, you can't do what you want to do. But this reading is suggesting otherwise. And it's interesting that we have the Hanged Man here. The Hanged Man is about looking from something from a different perspective. Looking at something in a different way other than the tried and true way, other than the traditional way. And an example of this, like, let's say maybe you want to get a visa to live in a certain country, and you feel that there is no way with your current experience or with your current qualifications to get it, but there is some other type of visa that you don't know about, or in a little while a new type of visa is going to be created. It's like there's something in the works for you, or there's just something that you're not seeing yet where there really is a way to do what you want to do. Or maybe you want to enter into a certain job or educational program, but you feel like you don't have the qualifications, but there's some other way to get in. Not like an exception, because I feel like it is still in accordance with the rules, but maybe you just don't know about it yet, like you don't know what is available to you, or maybe there is actually a different school that offers the same program but with different qualifications. Like, you can still do what you want to do, but maybe we have to look elsewhere, or maybe we have to take a different approach. But this card is promising to you that there is always a way to do what you want to do. With talent here, we spoke about this a little bit. Definitely a big focus for you guys will be recognizing a talent that you have and developing this talent. With Violet here as well, spirituality and psychic energy, you may be very focused on your spiritual journey at this time, increasing your psychic and spiritual gifts and letting them help you navigate your life. For some of you, these could even go together, that your talent is your spiritual gift, your talent is being psychic. But whatever it may be, there is a focus on really growing your talents over the next 6 months and seeing where they will take you. So let's get into your tarot deck now. I'm using the Chubby Bun Tarot for this reading. It's very cute. And the first thing we're gonna see is a significant blessing coming your way in the next 6 months. So what is a significant blessing that will be coming to group number 4 in the next 6 months? Ooh, okay, we have the 3 of Wands. So there is some kind of expansion that is happening for you guys in the next 6 months. A new opportunity, something that is allowing you to level up in life. I think it makes a lot of sense that we have this message encouraging you to focus on your talents, to get education, to get training, to build up your talents, because the 3 of Wands is now indicating that in the next 6 months, you will receive an opportunity that is going to expand your horizons and make your world bigger. For some of you, this opportunity could take you to another part of the world. So like working abroad, studying abroad. Some of you guys could be moving, for example, moving from a small town into a big city where there's a lot more happening and there's a lot of important people there. You could be, it's like you're moving into a space full of creative people, driven people, brilliant people, ambitious people. And doors are opening for you. I just heard for some of you, you're getting your name out there. You're becoming more known. Your status is increasing. Your fame is increasing. That doesn't necessarily mean you're becoming famous, although you very well could be, but just that more people know about you. More people know what you're all about and more people know what you're capable of. I see you interacting with more diverse people as well. People of different backgrounds, different cultures. Another thing that I often see with the 3 of Wands is some form of passive income. Something that has the ability to expand. Some of you guys could be generating revenue off of work that you did in the past. So, like, let's say you wrote a book and then you never did anything with it, but it's all done and ready. Then you put that previous work out there and you're making money off of it. Or like you posted a YouTube video 5 years ago and all of a sudden it's blowing up now. It's that feeling of like, I already did the work ages ago, but now all of that hard work is coming back to bring me my blessings. And there's this feeling of you are getting noticed on a larger scale. And you're leveling up in some way, and more doors are opening for you now. I also feel like there's opportunity to travel, to work or study abroad, or to be going from place to place. I think in the next 6 months, you are becoming very comfortable with stepping out of your comfort zone, very comfortable in discomfort. Comfortable with trying new things. Doing things that scare you will become exciting because you recognize that this is an opportunity for growth and expansion. I also should mention, oh, wait a minute. We have This is, like I said before, Pisces energy, Taurus energy, and now this is Aries energy, more specifically Aries sun. So all of these go in order, right? Pisces, Aries, Taurus. That time frame could be significant for you guys. And I actually want to say, even if this is not within the next 6 months, just remember this. From late February to late May, whenever that's happening next, late February to late May, I think will be an important time for you guys. I also just noticed, look, out of these, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I see numbers going up like this, it lets me know that you're making progress. You're making progress, you're leveling up, you're expanding your opportunities, expanding your audience. The world is getting bigger for you. The world is becoming more accessible to you. More doors are opening to you. The world is your oyster right now. What about a challenge? Whoop. What is going to be a challenge for group number 4? We have the 4 of Swords. Okay, I just wanted to mention something. Just the way that the deck was acting when I was trying to shuffle it. When I first started to shuffle, it felt really messy. It was hard to keep the cards in my hand. It felt like I was gonna drop the whole deck, and maybe you heard me go like, ooh, you know? But then once I got the hang of it, it started to shuffle very cleanly. So when we're talking about challenges that you guys will experience in the next 6 months, I think it's probably something that you're facing right now and that is gonna continue for a little while. But then once you get over that initial bump, it will be smooth sailing. So for example, maybe the first month of this next 6 months is gonna be a bit challenging, but once you get past that initial stage, it's gonna be easy for you. And with the 4 of Swords here, the first thing that came to me with this is like a lack of motivation or low energy. As you can see, this 4 of Swords person is sleeping, they're tired, they don't want to deal with it. This can actually be a very beautiful card, as it can talk about rest, regeneration, healing, meditation, reflection. But because this is coming out in a more negative light, so to speak, it's talking about a challenge that we're facing. I think for many of you, okay, for some of you, this is talking about a lack of motivation or low energy. So it's like you have all of these things that you want to do. You want to work on your talent. Maybe you want to go back to school, or maybe you took time off from school to focus on your talents. But now that you have this free time, you don't have the energy or the motivation. And so that can be kind of frustrating. It could even bring feelings of guilt, you know? I cannot tell you guys how many times I've done this where I'm like, oh, I finally have a week off. I'm gonna work on that thing. And then literally the whole week goes by and I don't work on it. And honestly, like, let's not be mean to ourselves about that. If we feel tired, it's probably because we need rest. But it just might be challenging at the start to get yourself motivated and energized to do the things that you want to do. Alternatively, some of you guys might have unrealistic expectations about your energy and how much you can get things done. So, for example, let's say you work a 9 to 5, but then you have this passion project that you want to, like the previous example, you want to write a book, you want to write a novel. And so you're like, okay, I have a week off from work, so I'm going to work on my novel. But then that week off comes around and you don't work on it. And I guess it's coming through as like, you don't realize how exhausted you've been from work. So when the week off comes around, it's natural that your body just wants to sleep and your brain doesn't want to be used very much because your brain's like, holy crap, work is exhausting. Can I please use these days to just rest? Like, I know you want to get this book done, but I'm freaking tired. I out of it for a while. I need to be disconnected. And so maybe that standard that you placed on yourself of when I do have free time, I gotta be working on this thing, maybe that wasn't very fair to your body and your brain that have been working so hard. So it could really go either way. For some of you, it might just be like you're simply struggling to get motivated. For others of you, it could be like, man, I'm just tired. Like, I don't have the energy to do this right now. And so that could be something that is challenging at first, but I think that you'll get the hang of it. I think that you'll learn kind of what you can expect from yourself to not get disappointed. Maybe you'll set a little bit more realistic expectations for yourself of like, what am I going to get done this weekend, or what am I going to get done on this week off? Because I also think that setting too high expectations can be very counterproductive, in that if you set out to complete a task and you don't do it, you could get into this thinking of like, I'm a failure, why do I even bother, like it's too much, and just give up. Whereas if you set smaller goals that you're very much able to achieve in your free time, it becomes a cycle of positive reinforcement. It makes you want to keep going because you're like, yay, I set out to do this thing and I did it. So maybe setting smaller goals, or like a bit less frequently, could be helpful. But again, I feel like this is only going to be an issue in the beginning stages. So it could be that your schedule is going to calm down soon, and then it's going to be a lot easier to focus on what you want to, or you're going to find an effective way to like manage your energy or to motivate yourself. It really only feels like it's in the initial stages. This is very weird, but I have a smell of like motorboat exhaust and like lake. Like someone has a motorboat on a lake and the smoke is coming out of the muffler, and it smells like lake, and it smells like fuel, like boat fuel. That is very oddly specific. If anyone is smelling that right now, or maybe knows what that is referring to, please feel free to let me know. But let's keep going. The next thing we're gonna see is a significant change coming your way in the next 6 months. What is a significant change? I'm also just thinking like changes coming in your life in the next 6 months could require you to make a new sleep schedule. Or maybe this is like jet lag as well. Because if you're traveling, like if you're going to study abroad or work abroad, or like going on a trip, you could have to deal with the time difference. I know when I go back to Canada, I'm like screwed up for a full 7 days. Like I'm waking up at 2 a.m. and then falling back asleep at 8 a.m. and then waking up at 1 p.m. and falling back asleep at 5 p.m. It's a disaster. So yeah, that could be jet lag, or like getting used to a new sleep schedule. Like when I went back to school, I had to get used to waking up early again, and it was kind of tough, but now it's just like my body just wakes up. Yeah, so maybe in the next 6 months, there's a significant change in your daily schedule because you're doing something different. The time your wake up time, your go to work time, your come home time, your sleep time, your eating time could be kind of all thrown around and up in the air for a while. Oh, we have the King of Pentacles for your significant change. I feel like you guys are, and I just heard finally settling in to your long-term path. So maybe before we were on a path that was just temporary, like this is okay for the moment, but it's not what I really want. We're settling into our long-term path, or our full-time path. Some of you guys may be offered a full-time position somewhere, or you're moving away from an energy of I'm like thinking of myself taking like, oh, I'll take this 1-year visa over here and I'll take this 1-year visa over here. Like you're finally getting something long-term, like a long-term contract, a long-term living situation, a long-term position. With this King of Pentacles, you're finally setting into what will be the next long-term chapter for you. You're also feeling financially, I think you're feeling very comfortable, feeling very cushy, feeling very safe. And you're also starting to feel more like, I know what I'm doing. I have the authority to speak on this matter. And maybe that comes from your education and working on your talents, but it's like you could be healing imposter syndrome during this time where, for example, you've stopped saying, oh, I enjoy writing. I'm someone who likes to write. And now you're saying, I'm an author. You know, like you're giving yourself that title. And it's fine to call yourself someone who enjoys writing. You can very much be that. But you've reached a point in your pursuit where you actually feel like, this is who I am. This is what I'm good at. This is my title. You could be gaining an official title through, for example, passing some kind of exam, going through some kind of process, but you feel like this is what I do now. You know, I'm not a person who sings. I am a singer. You know, giving yourself or being given that official title, feeling confident in what you do, so you don't feel uncomfortable when you say that either. You know, I keep telling people I'm an author, but I feel like I'm lying because I only have one book and, you know, you just feel like, yep, this is what I am. And you feel it in your whole chest and in your whole gut that this is you. You are assuming that position with confidence because you know how good you are and you know you have earned this. I'm also hearing a message of you're starting to relate more to a family member, especially a parent or a grandparent, and almost like have more compassion and understanding for them. You're able to relate more to what they went through. And that might just be a result of you maturing, or for example, maybe you have children and so now you understand more how your parents felt and how they navigated parenting. There's that feeling of like, I know what you've been through. I can understand you better now. And it comes from maturing, or it comes from a life experience. So next we're gonna see, where will you be in 6 months? The you 6 months from now, who and where are they? How have you ended up after this 6-month period? And we have the 5 of Cups. Interesting. So not to be anticlimactic, but it looks like you're going through these big changes and expansions. But we leave off this 6-month period with a sort of homesickness. It's this feeling of you've come so far, you've accomplished so much, and as you're sitting here on your King of Pentacles throne, you're kind of longing for something that you once had. I think a lot of you will probably end up in a different place. There's some kind of relocation that is happening, whether it's literally going across the world or going to a different department in your company. Like it can be something small like that, but there's a feeling of after you've gone through all of this growth, after you've become successful, there's a feeling of And I keep wanting to say homesickness, like longing for what you once had. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. In fact, this can be an opportunity for adjustments, for redirection, because we have the number 5 that's about change. So, and this is maybe going to be the second time that I use like France in an example during this reading, but let's say your talent is baking and then you get this amazing opportunity in France to work under a very, very successful and renowned like pastry chef or something. And then you move to France and you're pursuing this amazing opportunity and you're so excited. You're starting to feel really confident in your abilities. Maybe you even open your own shop. I don't know if this is all going to happen in 6 months, but this is just an example. And then after all of that, you're thinking like you should feel so happy, right? Because you got your training, you developed your talent, your position and status increased, people know about you, you're gaining this income, like you're feeling really sure of yourself. And yet there's this sadness. You're like, I miss home. I want to go home. And it's conflicting, right? Because there's this part of you that maybe thinks, what, are you ungrateful for all of this hard work that I did and all of these blessings that we received? That's what you're thinking about? Like, you might feel like you're being pessimistic and you should just enjoy where you are. But I actually encourage you to listen to this 5 of Cups. You know, after all these blessings came my way, there's still something that is tugging at my heart, and that's that I miss home. I want to go back home. And I think you can. There's always a way. And actually, you know what's so interesting? This feeling of being stuck, that might happen after you achieve all of this. And you feel stuck because there's something from before that you miss and you feel like you can't go back. But this card is saying that you can. And it might take a big adjustment, but you can. So in this example, you can go back to your home country and you can open your bakery there. You can have both, or you can have everything of what makes you happy. So allow yourself to feel this longing or feel this homesickness or this missing something or missing someone. And find a way that you can do what you're doing now in your big successful position, but where you want to be and with whom you want to be. There is a way to make it work. You can have both this material fulfillment and this emotional fulfillment. So please don't ignore this sad feeling. Please don't tell yourself, oh, you're just being pessimistic or you're just being ungrateful, because I feel like this sad feeling in your heart is telling you what your heart really wants, where your heart wants to redirect itself to. So let's look at the bottom of the deck. This is going to be a message from you in 6 months from now. And we have the Knight of Cups. This is so funny. Groups 1 and 2 had the exact same tarot card come out in the exact same place. And now you, groups 3 and 4, both have the Knight of Cups coming out for like the message of what your 6 months from now self wants to tell you. I think they're telling you to trust the flow of life. You know, life has a weird way of carrying us where we need to end up without us even really realizing. You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of the scene in Shrek where Shrek and Donkey are going to the castle to save Princess Fiona, and Donkey is afraid to cross the bridge because it's really rickety and there's like lava beneath it. And then Shrek starts playing with Donkey and like swinging the bridge. And Donkey's like, don't do that. And Shrek is like, don't do what? Oh, you mean this? And starts really swinging the bridge. And Donkey's like freaking out. But as he's freaking out, he's like walking backwards. And he's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then before he knows it, he's on the other side of the bridge. So like while he was busy freaking out, what he didn't realize is that Shrek was actually leading him across the bridge. And your future self is saying life has a way of doing that. In the midst of the chaos and the confusion and you feeling scared or feeling like you don't know what you're doing, you're actually going exactly where you need to go. And with time, it does take time, but with time, life does have a way of just working everything out. There is always a way. I'm like getting emotional from this. There is always a way, even when you can't see it. And the Knight of Cups is saying, just take your time and flow with it. And it might sound like cliche advice, but really, just take it one day at a time. I don't know what the heck my next few years of life looks like, but worrying about that is not productive. It doesn't make me feel good. So I just know that today I'm doing what I want to do. Today I'm happy. And as long as I know that, then I just repeat that every day and life will take care of the rest. Life will get me where I need to go. And I think, oh, did you hear the car honking? That is an important confirmation. There was a car honking earlier. I don't know if it was in this group or in a different one, but there's like a really loud car honking to confirm something. Anyway, I think future you would also remind you that love is the most important thing. So keep the ones you love close to you. Don't hide how you feel from someone. Tell them how you feel. Let your loved ones know you love them. Let your family know you love them. Whether that's your like blood family or your chosen family, let your loved ones know. You will never, at the end of the day, you will never regret letting someone know you love them or showing someone your heart, but you might regret not telling them. Keep your loved ones close and always make your decisions with love. And just remember that love is the most important thing in everything you do. Love will always show you the way. Aww. So finally, let's take a look at some oracle cards for some last guidance for you. Don't complicate it. The truth is simple. You already have the answers. Accept people and situations exactly as they are. It will bring you clarity and peace. Remember as well that there's never a need to force anything. And remember that love is not forceful and love is very patient. I would also say for those of you, if you knew, for example, let's say this is you and this is your goal. If you knew with 100% certainty that you were going to reach your goal, it's like you would stop banging your head against doors that don't want to open. If there's like a bunch of different ways you can try to reach your end goal, and one door is just really not budging at all, of course, if you feel like this is my only door, then you're going to be banging your head against it. But if you know that the universe has so many ways to bring you your desired outcome and that you're going to get it 100%, then it will be less scary to be like, okay, let's just try something else. Let's let go of this door and try something else. There's like this message of healing the lack mentality of banging yourself against doors that don't want to open for you because you know that there's a million other doors. So the same thing goes with like approaching a goal you want to achieve. The same thing goes with relationships. You know, like there's a lot of other fish in the sea, and that goes for anything you're pursuing. Don't be afraid to try a different approach. That's the Hanged Man as well. We have reflect. And aw, you're doing well, keep going. I feel like this reflect card is a promise that your outer life, your outer circumstances will be a reflection of your inner world, of your heart's truest desires, if only you just keep going and don't try to force things. You know, so if this opportunity, if this relationship, whatever it might be, if it's not a reflection of what you truly want in your heart, don't try to force it to be something that it's not. Just gracefully move on and know that the reflection of what you truly want is out there. And remember, remember that you have the power to choose. You are not a beggar, you are a chooser. I'm imagining like someone going to job interviews, but going into it with the feeling of like, are you a suitable company for me? You know, not going into it as like a please hire me, am I good enough for you? But are you good enough to be my employer? Like, can you give me something that I need? And knowing that if it doesn't work with this company, there's going to be a lot more. And going into it with that mentality makes us a lot less likely to compromise on things that we otherwise wouldn't compromise on. Like, oh, you know, their pay is like half of what I wanted, but, you know, we start to justify why we should lower our standards if we think that there is nothing else, if we think that there is no other way. So I think your future self just wants to remind you how many fish there are in the sea, both in a professional sense and in a personal sense. And if you feel like something is not a reflection of what you truly want, don't try to make it that or try to force it to be that or force it to fit. Just keep on going, like the Knight of Cups. Keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Yeah. So I think those are all the messages for you guys. So I'm going to end your reading here. Group number 4, thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are also timeless. And they are just like these ones, except for you get to choose the topic. I'm like, the same way I got that smell of a boat. I have an overwhelming smell as if someone is smoking. I don't know if maybe someone out there just like lit something up, but anyway. What was I saying? You can also check out my music on my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. And you can also check out my latest release, which is linked in the description. And finally, I have a vlog channel at Kino Vlogs, and I also have merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me. Group number 4s, I'm sending lots of love to you, to anyone who may be involved in your next 6 months, and I'm sending lots of love to your spirit guides, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!